Welcome to the podcast On the Line with Babsie, where we are going to talk to my mother, Babsie, on the phone. She's got a lot to say, and she never shuts up. My name is Michèle Haines, and here we go.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Turn it down.
No,
Just a minute.
You're not in charge of that.
Oh,
that's good.
I have volume on me.
Mm-hmm. No, we're good.
Oh, okay. You know, I never know if I'm speaking too loudly.
That's all right. We'll tell you.
Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, is Tim adjusting it?
Yes.
Hello, Tim.
I think we're good. Hello.
Oh, hi, Tim. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. Did you, were you shaken a little yesterday?
Honestly, didn't even notice. I didn't even know there was an earthquake. I was walking the dog, and I had no clue. So somebody driving by in a car drove by and yelled at me, like, "Did you feel the earthquake?" And I was like, "When?" And they're like, "Just now."
Oh, well, that's amazing that you didn't feel anything. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. The largest earthquake in 2 decades, and I missed it.
Whoa. Oh, sorry.
Well, you may feel another one.
No.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Let's hope not.
It's, yes. Well, you're very, you're low volume to me, right now.
Oh yeah, I'm not sounding very loud.
Oh, there you are. Yes, I can hear you.
I said actually talking
more.
to the microphone.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you're all right and you're all safe, but
Yep.
I do worry because in Japan we had earthquakes and you know, the whole backyard opened up and it's frightening.
That was just Godzilla.
Oh. Well, yeah, I suppose so. Well, he got dumped on by millions of tons of dirt, though. They got rid of him, I guess.
Yeah, I guess
But,
so.
well, yes. Well, anyway, I don't want to waste too much of your time.
Yeah,
So,
but when were you in Japan and why?
oh, well, are people listening?
Again, this is the podcast, so hopefully eventually.
Oh, yo, we're on.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. In 1950, your
boy.
grandfather, hello?
Yes.
Did you say something?
Go on.
Your grandfather was the missile commander at Misawa Air Base. And that was 1950, but then your grandmother was in New York because I was going to be born and then follow grandfather out to Misawa. So Nana had me, and then in 51, we made the trip cross country by train to Washington State and then boarded the, it might have been the Patch, the USNS Patch, across the Pacific, but we burst a boiler. I'm not sure if we had this story before.
No.
But anyway.
We had one episode.
Oh, really? Okay. So anyway, yes. Well, in Billings, Montana, the train lurched and I fell from the bunk, and they had to stop the train in Billings, Montana to get a doctor. And they said, oh, she's all right. She had a slight concussion. So the train went on to
baby?
Washington as a baby. Yeah.
Now things make sense.
Yeah. I blame everything on maybe hitting my head on the floor. You know. I was pushed.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes. So we got to Washington, embarked on the ship, and mid-ocean in the Pacific, the naval vessel burst a boiler. So we were, I think I told this story before.
You didn't.
We were bobbing in the Pacific. Oh, okay. Well, we were bobbing in the Pacific, and they were trying to repair it.
Wait, you as people were in the water, or you're on the boat?
Oh, no. We were all safely on board. Everybody was sick except us. And they were all sick because it was, we were in a typhoon also, and the waves, they said, were like 30 feet high. And so anyway, they were able to repair the boiler, and we limped into the Aleutian Islands, into Dutch Harbor, where they do all the crabbing now, on Deadliest Catch. I love that show. And yes, and the Bering Sea, that's what we went through. Well, anyway, then they repaired the ship. Well, your grandfather, in those days, you didn't have a lot of communication. And I'm sure they tried to contact him, but we were gone 18 days, and it should have been maybe 8 or 7 days. So Papa got a hold, since he was the commander. He said, listen, where's my family? And they got, they sent a radiogram, and they said, wife and children are fine, told your grandfather what had happened. And so after 18 days of being on the Pacific and repairs and everything, we made it to Japan. And that's the way it was, yes.
Why was everyone sick, you said, except you?
Oh, because they were seasick.
Oh.
Remember? Oh,
No,
your father... Well, your father actually turned green when we were up in, and it's true. When they say people turn green, it's very true, because the pigment in your skin, something happens. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's why they invented the Incredible Hulk. Because, yes, made him green. No, I'm serious. Because when you get seasick, the changes in the pigment of the skin bring a green pigment to the surface. In other words, all the yellows and oranges or whatever in the pigment of the skin become less when you're under some sort of stress, which would be at this time being seasick. So, Dad, I looked at him and I said, you are actually green. He was. Now, not the color of the Hulk or anything, but a very, very pale green. Yeah. And I found out that it's so true.
You found out on Deadliest Catch?
Well, no, the internet. You're not supposed to look up a lot of things, but it made
all
sense.
Do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I thought, well, that makes perfect sense. And you, David, and I were laughing at your father, because here he's an infantry officer, airborne ranger, jumping out of planes. Of course, he had to be pushed out the first time because he's afraid of heights, and he never got over that.
Right.
That's why he went to ranger school, airborne, because he was afraid of heights. And then once he jumped out of the planes and was pushed out, he never recovered from being afraid of heights. He was always afraid he wouldn't get on a ladder or anything. And I was thankful, because he was always doing things and getting hurt and everything.
One time he did get on a ladder, he fell off and his glasses went flying.
Oh, yes. And you remember the time I went to Connecticut, I think you were at Loyola College. I went to Connecticut and I said to your father, do not do anything silly. And of course, he doesn't listen. So he got on his old tractor from the 1950s with the can up on the exhaust or whatever. And he was driving the tractor on a hill. And the tractor overturned and he dislocated his shoulder. And Curry's up at the top of the lane took him to the doctor, and they said, yes, you have a dislocated shoulder, don't do anything. And of course, but he called me in Connecticut and I said, David, I told you not to do anything while I was gone. He said, oh, dear, I had to cut the lawn, except I was on a hill and it just happened to go over. And I thought, I said, do you want me to come home? And he said, oh, no. He said, I'm cutting the grass. So he was cutting the grass with his shoulder. He was always doing something.
Was he mowing the lawn during the daylight or at night like he liked to do?
Oh, probably at midnight. And he would always start. Your father, I said, don't make any noise. The children are sleeping. I'm going to bed too. So he starts way up at the top of the lane by the rock wall at 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. And at midnight, he's down right by the house, cutting right under the windows, and I wake up and I go to the window. Well, I opened the window and I was going to pour water on him, but I missed him. And I thought, I'm going to fix him some way. But he was too fast for me, so he went down in the hollow, and then he came back. So I just laid in bed and I waited until he went all around the house. And then he was finished around 2 in the morning and, showered and everything and was ready for work. So that's what your father did. When we came home from Labrador, I was driving the last few hours of the trip so that he could get ready. He could shower in the Lasharo and the little motor home, Winnebago, and he showered. He had his suit. At that time, he was retired, and he was a civilian then. He got in his suit. We pulled up to the front door. He got out with his attaché and everything, got in the car and went to work.
Now, this was after the trip to Alaska.
Labrador. Yes.
Labrador.
Oh, yes. You were through every province, every territory. Your father was. He was determined you were going to see everything.
But
well,
didn't
you did.
plan very well.
Well, his map that was in Europe. His map ran out just before Prague. And he wanted to take me to Prague because that's where your great-grandparents were from. And his map ended 50 miles south of Prague or something. So we had to turn around. We stayed in Pilsen, and that's where you couldn't find any fruit, and where the lady took me aside at the post office and said, "Oh, American." I said, "Yes." She said, "Oh, my husband in the war. Oh, my husband in the war. But I met an American soldier. Oh, I fell in love with him. Oh, American, tell me." And I started telling her, and she said, "I don't know English." And I said, well.
Also in Pilsen is where we walked into that little fast food place with the lady in the fur coat that looked like Madonna. who sang,
Jane.
who filled her mouth with Cheetos and then sang opera.
And all the checks were looking at her. Yes, she had a sort of good voice, and she was singing. She said, "I want to be on Broadway." I said, "Oh, that's wonderful." And she started singing. Well, we have that on film where the guys are rolling their eyes, and she's debuting on Broadway in Pilsen, Czechoslovakia.
Yeah. They weren't rolling their eyes. They were older gentlemen who I believe had been out drinking, and they were very infatuated with her.
Oh, really? Is that how it went? Oh,
yeah. But your version is fine too.
They were just surprised to hear her sing.
She was known in that area.
Oh, who filmed? What? What did you say, honey?
Well, I didn't say that. I said she was known in that area.
Oh, she was? Oh,
Yes.
Okay. I didn't remember much, except that she was funny singing the American Broadway songs as she was auditioning for.
I remember we were laughing because she had Cheetos with her, and she kept eating them and then singing with her mouth full. Singing opera full of orange.
Oh, I wonder what she's doing now. You know, you never know.
No, you
But anyway, yes. So, yes. So, what else is new?
Well, so yesterday we were texting about the earthquake that happened, and you mentioned that there was an app to alert you, and I tried to type back that my neighbor said it didn't work, and the word neighbor changed to Morganite, which was an accident, and then there was a lot of confusion over that, and you thought what? You came up with a whole story in your head.
I know. I thought that you had a crystal in your apartment and you were looking in the crystal for a warning because you said that little Peanut, was looking all around and could probably sense that something was happening. So I envisioned this crystal lighting up and giving you a sign that the earth is moving. And I thought, oh my gosh, what are those people showing you at that massage place?
Yeah, and I don't know what you're talking about, massage place.
Yeah, with the bowls. That event you went to. Yeah, I got all confused.
Okay, we're recording at SoundBOX LA with Tim.
Yes,
and
now, of course.
Yes, I'm telling people who might be listening, so if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And one time we had we recorded singing bowls. I told you about that. And now you think I take a massage class.
Well,
and I'm
obsessed with gems. You can't depend on me to tell the truth. I mean, you can't depend on me to remember a story or things lead me down a different road.
I know.
Like the crystal, the bowls evoked something else. I thought she had crystals too.
Yeah.
I think it was Anne that got me started about the crystals because she got a crystal at Saks Fifth Avenue. It turned out to be a $17,000 necklace, 18-karat gold with diamonds, and this crystal. And she said, "Oh, that looks pretty." So she called me. She said, "Barbara, I think I found something." I said, "Well, send me a picture." Uh-oh.
What?
What happened?
Nothing.
Oh, I thought we were disconnected. Sorry. So anyway, she sent me a picture, and I said, "Look at the bail of the thing
Hey.
of the crystal, and it was marked 18 karat gold. It retails for $17,000, and she bought it for $59.99. I said, that is really wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the store didn't know what they were selling.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Is that bad?
I don't know. It's
Oh.
fine. Yeah, so
Okay.
yesterday we were on the phone, and then all of a sudden you said, oh,
What?
no. Oh, no.
Oh.
What? Oh, there's the phone again.
Yes.
Do you want to do your
can
moshi?
Well, I have to tell David I'm on the phone.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Oh, never mind.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened yesterday? Why did you start saying, oh no, this is terrible?
Oh, I don't remember. What were we talking about?
It had to do with a Brookside chocolate.
Oh, well, David said, Mom, please don't eat on your bed. And, well, it happens that, I love sometimes just, you know, lying propped up watching TV. And when you called me, I thought, oh, there's my bed. I'll sit down a minute. And then I reclined a little bit with pillows, and I was so comfortable. And then I saw the bag of Brookside, their chocolate blueberries. Oh, they're delicious.
Blueberry
I
flavoring,
missed my mouth.
Yes.
Oh, blueberry flavoring, yes. Well, I really love dark chocolate and that taste. And when we were talking, I happened to, I missed my mouth. And a few went down, but I thought I found them. Well, after we're talking for about a half hour, I got up and I thought, oh my word, the comforter was had all this melted brown on it, and I thought, oh my word, what is that? And it stunned me. Well, the blueberry melted under me, and it was a mess. But I cleaned it, and it's fine, but I had no idea I was laying an egg.
The first thing you said was, oh, great, now I have to stand up all day.
I can't hear you. I don't remember.
Said,
oh, it's
you
terrible.
Said, oh, great, now I have to stand up all day because you didn't want to change your pants. Who is that lazy?
I couldn't sit down anywhere because I couldn't find where the chocolate was, and it was all down my center legs. Oh, it was a mess. Oh, it was a mess. But anyway,
yeah, I have the picture.
It was. Yeah, it was a mess.
But we also talked about next time the Mormons come to the door, you can invite them in and have them sit there, and maybe they'll leave when they see the brown stain.
They're not the Mormons. They're the Seventh-day Adventists that come to preach. And I said, oh no, not here. But only because your father wouldn't want someone coming in when I'm alone and everything. But
yeah, that's why.
yes, but someone in the area said that they were going to call the police and have them arrested. And I thought, that is so mean. It might have been next door because he's an atheist, which there's nothing wrong with that. But oh, not good. Oh, sorry.
That's fine.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody is entitled to their freedom of religion or none. So, but he should not have threatened them with arresting them. That's terrible.
You said they wrote you a letter to say that?
Oh, then they wrote us a letter yes, the two gentlemen that came to the door, which I hurried and locked them out. But they, well, you never know who's coming to the door, and I don't normally answer it. So, no, when I'm alone, I'd rather not. But David did give me a taser, so I'm not afraid anymore. So, let me
Everyone
see.
else
What were we saying?
They came to the door. They wrote you a letter.
Oh, they wrote a letter and said, it's here someplace. They said we had visited you and you had expressed that you rather have your husband there if they were to come in, and they understood. And they told me about the incident with the neighbor, and they were not there to upset anyone there. They were there to spread the word of God. And I thought, oh, well, that's very nice, but I don't want to have men come in and spread any word. So, I know the words, and I'm not keen on having strangers come in and everything. But there is a sign out there that you're not to be soliciting, and I don't know if that's soliciting or not. But anyway, so I said, well, it would be better when my husband's home, and that means never. So,
Right.
And today is the anniversary of your grandfather leaving.
Yeah.
And yesterday was your other grandfather's birthday.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, and by the way, the fireworks in New York were exquisite. I hope you all watched it, if you could, but they were just gorgeous, more gorgeous than ever. It was really beautiful. So, yes. And I thought that the display of our military was just fine. I didn't see anything wrong with that.
Cool.
The Bradley and the M1A1 and the flyovers. I thought that was a wonderful contribute.
Words.
To the military.
Do you want to tell your story about the Bradley and how you met Dad over at Tank?
Yes. Yes, your father, an Army officer, was in charge of the Bradley out in California. And he brought the Bradley to Aberdeen Proving Ground where they tested it. And he happened to work for your grandfather. And I asked your grandfather if he had any cute officers. And he said, well, yes.
Your father, just so we're clear.
My father.
Yes.
Yes, who was one of the directors at the ordnance school. Well, your father happened to work for my father. And that's how we met. So the Bradley means a lot to me because when he brought the Bradley, that's how I met him. So, yeah. And then your father's classmate was the commandant, the commanding general of the post, and he called your father to go and get me. And they brought us over to the test track. And yeah, those are pictures of your father and I in the M1A1 Abrams, and it was a lot of fun. You went over the washboard. It's very, very smooth for all the tons of metal. I can't remember how many tons, but could it be 50,000 tons?
Let's just
no,
say that. That's fine.
Maybe that. Yeah, I don't know how many tons. Not 50,000. Maybe that's 50,000 pounds. I don't know. But anyway, they're very heavy.
Yeah.
And, yeah, they're very heavy. But I thought a lot of the people at the 4th of July were interested in seeing, some of our vehicles. I didn't see anything wrong. It was only 2. And actually, getting back to the cost of that, really the cost isn't that much because the military's paid anyway. All they had to do was truck the tanks from a certain place over. So all of this thing about the cost and everything, I don't think is really fair. So that's just my thought. But anyway.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, the stealth bomber is no longer in use, but boy, is it interesting because all of the jets today are stealth.
Mhm.
And I didn't know that until I was told. But but the stealth bomber, the black one that looks like the Batmobile in the sky, that is no longer in use. But I guess they brought it out of storage or whatever and flew it over. But oh, they're beautiful. But anyway, yes. And your friend used to work on the stealth bomber on the computers, which was really interesting.
Who's
But
my friend?
anyway,
Who?
John Crowder.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, remember?
Yes.
Yeah, little John that used to wear your dresses.
All right. So, John.
Oh, John, if you're out there, call me.
Yes, my best friend since 9th grade. We met in 9th grade. And
Yes.
he would time me getting home so perfectly that as we turned the key to the house, the phone would ring. And then we would be on the phone from that time until neither of us could keep our eyes open any longer. And I remember I ate my dinner on the phone while he played Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, we watched movies over the phone, all sorts of stuff. And then when he came over,
he dressed in your dresses.
Yeah, and not what you think. He's just funny.
Oh, no, he was just funny.
Yes, and we wore uniforms since we went to a private school. As soon as we got to our house, he'd go straight upstairs, put a dress over his uniform, and he'd come outside and we'd play basketball. And one time, Nana was over and she's like, "You get that dress off! That is a good dress!" And he ran back upstairs and put on a less good dress. And she's like, "That's better."
I do remember. I think it was a green dress. It was so cute. He looked cute. No, he was a character.
No,
he wasn't.
Fine.
Any other persuasion.
Okay,
no,
he was just kidding around.
Oh, he was funny. Yes.
One time, I remember our other friend Greg. His mother would not let him hang out with John.
Like him.
No, but it was funny because Greg and I were going to the movies, and his mom was driving us, and Greg said, "Mom, who's picking me up, you or Dad?" And she said,
"What?"
She said, "Gregory, your father and I are one." And then Greg said, "Yes, but which one of you is picking me up?" And she said, your father.
Yeah. And you know what? She didn't like me. She said something terrible about me.
Oh, a lot of people do, but
well, anyway.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, she didn't like me, and I was very hurt by what she said.
She was
but I don't remember what it was, so
okay.
I didn't like her.
Yeah, well, she was kind of funny, and she did not allow Greg to hang out with John. So when Greg came to the house, we had to hide John, who I called Pia.
That's right.
Yeah,
I remember.
so I remember she's pulling down the lane, and we're like, "Oh no!" And you said, "Oh, Pia, hide!" And he hid on the side of the porch, wearing my green dress with the white polka dots. And she came up to the house and thought she saw something in the corner of her eye and looked, and I think she was just in disbelief. She's like, "That can't possibly be a boy in a dress."
Oh, yes. John was funny.
Yeah.
Where is he now, Michelle?
I'm not sure. Last I knew, he was in Austin.
Oh, did he get married?
I really have no idea.
Yeah, well, sometime if you could send me his father's number. I drove by their house on Donald Street, and but you know, he wasn't outside, but
Okay.
anyway. So, yes. So,
Well, going back
yes.
to you meeting Dad, you you mentioned to me your first date. You went to the movies with you, Dad, and another woman in a fur coat.
No, this is, well, it's after, Pat loved your father. She wanted to marry him.
Okay.
Well, your
we'll edit her name.
father invited her to our movie. And we went, your father was infatuated with movies, and I'll tell you why. Every Saturday when they lived in Paris, grandfather would make your father go to the opera Saturdays, and after being in the opera so many days, he loved opera, but his father, made him go, and I think that's why your father was such a movie goer. Oh, he used to drive me crazy with the movies, and he wouldn't be quiet. I said, would you be quiet so I would sit a couple seats away from him? I said, I'm not sitting next to you.
What do you mean?
And
He's
he
talking
said,
or
Arba.
making noise?
Oh, he filled his pockets with hot dogs. It was terrible. We would come home and there would be mustard all over his clothes. I said, you can't put food in your pockets. He said, I am not paying $6 for a hot dog at the movies.
They're just
I said, well,
loose
put
in his
it in a
pants.
plastic bag. What?
He just put it in his pocket without any covering.
In a napkin. And I said, David, you can't do that, and don't sit next to me. And he said, I am going to sit next to you. We are sitting together. I said, I will not. If your pockets are full of hot dogs, I'm not going in there with you.
And that's from the start?
They were. Yes.
That was the first
anyway.
date.
So we went to this affair at the officers' club in long gowns, and your father said after it was over, let's go to the movies. So she was a big, heavy set. She was heavy set, and Pat, goodness, she was a very good civil servant. Oh. Well, anyway, yeah, she's still around. I saw her not long ago, but she didn't see me. So anyway,
I was hiding in the bushes.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I try to hide. I just want to go in a store by myself. But anyway,
with spaghetti on my shirt.
Yes.
And a Brookside dingleberry.
Yes. So after this affair, we're in our long skirts, and your father said, why don't we go to the movies? I said, go to the movies in this? And she said, oh, I'd love to. She loved him so much. She would do anything. And I said, I'm not going with her.
I only married him because she liked him.
So I went, and he sat in the middle with her on one side and me on the other, and his pockets stuffed with hot dogs. And I said, this isn't my idea of fun. He said, oh, it's wonderful. He said, this is a great movie. And Pat said, oh, it is. It is.
Wow.
Funny. I thought you're not going to win him.
So,
but anyway, he he was, yes. So he had his night out with the girls, and I said, don't ever do that again. I said, I'm not going if you invite another girl to go. I said, I am not going. And he said, oh, I've known Pat for so long. I thought it'd be fun. I said, well, it wasn't fun, and I'm not going anymore.
Well, we have nothing in common. I hated every minute of that. Sure, I'll marry you. Let's get it over with.
Yes, and then, yes, when July, we met in April, we got married in July, and that's April, May, June, July, 3 months. And we had to hurry up to get married because his parents, the Haines, were flying in from London, and they were going to stay a little while in Michigan, and then they were going to leave for 6 months. He said, we either get married in July or when they come back in February. I said, oh,
what works
no,
best for
it's going to
Pat?
be July. I'm not waiting that long. I'm not going to go through this waiting a long time and taking Pat to the movies. I said, that is over. So,
did you even like each other at that point, or what was the deal there?
I said, just say I do and hurry up. Just hot. Oh, and then on the honeymoon, that was the worst honeymoon I have ever had. Well, he had me making sandwiches in the car. I said, are you? Oh,
For
I
who?
was so upset. I cried.
Where did you go?
I said, I don't. Oh, we went to Niagara Falls on the Canadian side because the American side isn't as pretty. I said, listen. I said, I'm not making sandwiches. He said, yes, we're going to make sandwiches in the car and we're going to eat them as we drive. And I said, oh, brother. So I was mad at him the whole way. I didn't talk to him the whole honeymoon.
That never spoke to him again. 2 children later, still couldn't stand him. Great.
So I made the sandwiches and I said, here, eat your sandwich. Oh, I had a whole cooler full of lunch meat and cheese, and I thought I'm just going to throw him a piece of cheese. But anyway, so from then on, we got along just fine.
Yeah. Don't talk to me for 3 days.
I know, it was 2 weeks.
Oh.
Sometimes it was 2 weeks.
Can we get an annulment now?
No, I never thought of that. He used to drive me crazy, but anyway, so no, he was a very good soul. He was, but he could drive you crazy. Oh, but anyway,
Great.
no, the night before I said, I don't really know him that well. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. And I spent the night we were married in Bethesda. You know, Michelle, when you lived in Bethesda, I forgot to get you to find Fourth Presbyterian Church because that was the fatal day. But
well.
Yes, no, he was good. I miss him very much. But when he was good, he was very good. When he was bad, he was very bad. But I sent him downstairs to watch TV, and then he'd come upstairs and bother me again.
I yell at him and repeat.
Yes, but he was good. No, he was a good soul, and he was very good.
Okay.
But And no, he was good.
Okay.
So anyway,
Got it.
I can't believe he's really gone. But
Yeah.
oh, yeah, it's awful.
Yep.
So yeah, so anyway, yeah, that was a very eventful. Oh gosh, I think I slammed the door and wouldn't let him in the room on that honeymoon. Oh, I hated that honeymoon. Oh, that was, I don't know what you call a honeymoon that you don't like. I've never heard that, but oh, it was terrible.
How long
I said,
were you
this is
stuck
the
there?
worst. Well, we traveled. You know, your father loved to travel. Oh, we went to Quebec City, you know, where we went before, and but I don't remember that much. Oh, of course, we ended up in Michigan, and but
Why
for
did you get married again?
Oh, I'm not sure. No, I really did love him way down deep. No, I did. No, he was basically very, very good. He just had different ways of doing things. I mean, like, go on a honeymoon, you don't make sandwiches. Oh, oh, God. And, but anyway, so that was that. I was so glad to get home. I thought, oh, phew.
Great. Oh, now I gotta live with this guy. Great.
Oh, and then, I'll never forget it.
What?
Oh, well, we had an apple tree, you know, where Philly had her field.
Yes.
And the apples were dropping on the ground. Well, there weren't any apples on the ground because your father was out all night picking them up so that I could peel them to make pie.
In the car.
Oh, he put apples in everything he could find. A can, a bucket, everything, and he presents me with all these apples. And I said, well, what are you doing? He said, these are for you to peel. I said, what? You've got to be kidding. He said, well, you and Mom can peel them and we'll have apple pie. I said, have you lost your mind? This must be a truckload of apples. So anyway, he said, but some of them aren't good. I said, oh, David, I said, don't you have somewhere to go? And he said, no, I'm going out to get more apples.
Don't you have a movie to go to with your other girlfriend?
Oh, well, you know, when we had to entertain the Australian officers, oh, they were very cute. But the Australians like to drink, and they're very good soldiers. And your father had about 6 of them with him. And we were over at Nana and Papa's, and they said to your father, well, could we go to the bar? And I thought, oh, no, they're going to the bar in Aberdeen. And I thought, oh. So I said, oh, boy, good luck. And because your father wasn't much of a drinker, but he would have a beer once in a while, I guess, with the men, you know, not very often. Yeah. But when he was entertaining people, you know, you had to do what they wanted to do. So, so they went. And then later he's telling me that he picked up this prostitute and took her home. I said, are you out of your mind? I said, well, that's it, David. I said,
is that my real mom?
Terrible. Oh, and I said, what are you doing picking up somebody in Aberdeen? He said, well, the guys were a little tipsy. The girl, they were talking to her, and she said, can I have a ride home? And I said, and you took her? I said, what is wrong with you? And he said, nothing. He said, the girl needed a ride, so I took her home. I said, well, and what else? And he said, of course, nothing. And I said, David, I don't like this. He said, well, poor thing didn't have any place to go. I thought, oh, God, she's been around the block more than once.
Yeah.
Oh, God. But anyway, so my.
Stay in the
but
guest room.
no. Oh, I guess, he always wanted to help people, but I thought, there's some people you don't help. But anyway. But, yes.
Well, on that note.
Yeah, let's say goodbye, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yes. Oh, I hate to end on that.
Oh, well, say
But
something
anyway.
else fast.
Oh, I don't know what to say.
What are you doing this week?
Anyway. I think the week is over.
Okay.
No, I have to go to the bank, and I have to run a few errands, so,
Great.
yes. And then it'll be fine, yes. Okay. So, well, have a wonderful day.
Thanks, you too.
Yes, thanks, honey.
Okay.
Okay, bye, Tim.
I think he has headphones
Goodbye.
on. Oh, no, he doesn't.
Oh, bye, Tim. Okay.
Have a good weekend.
Should I not say? Oh, thank you, Tim. I look forward to meeting you someday.
Come on out to LA anytime.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, honey.
All right. Okay, talk to you next time.
Okay, signing off.
All right, don't sit on any chocolate.
Yeah, I'll try not to. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Yep, okay, bye.
Okay, be careful. Yes, be careful of the quakes and everything. Okay. All right. Bye.
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 Bye. All right, well, thanks for joining us, everyone. Again, my name is Michèle Haines. Thank you for listening to me and my mom, Babsie. We're recording live at SoundBOX LA. We'll see you next time.